The two E sounds in Kwi are represented by the vulture hieroglyph. It has been spoken in previous videos/audios by my Reepu's son Tarkinu Unu Noopoo that birds in Noon science represent spirit, ether, beings, the orbs all over the infinite universes, as well as the world soul, which are 9 ether and 6 ether gases. All gods and goddesses, such as the sun, earth, and moon, are bird-like by nature in the sense that they are in flight or in the air at all times. It is a matter of fact that spirit beings are bird-like and air-like, and that the universe or world soul is all life, light, and energies, including all spirit beings in the universe at any given time, and is the order of the universe and creator and controller of the universe together with the laws and cycles of nature. Let it be remembered always and let it be known. Nature and Nature Book 1, page 197 in part. Remember, the baskets are the top half and the bottom halves of the smat circle of order. The vulture sitting on the top is the ether and matter called the world soul, spread out through almighty nature during the time that Noopoo exists. Nekbet, symbolic of the top half world soul. Listen to reason. As repeated elsewhere in this presentation, the nature in nature is the God in nature, and the God in nature is those invisible magic magnetic particles and all matter known as brain newts, the prime mover and brain producer in nature. Brains, the attribute of the brain newts, who modifies and converts melting down brain newts into ether of growth, mind, and all forms of reason. Natural ether, the world soul of life or death. Reason, the producer of order, true positive law, and the ether and spirit creator of all persons, places, and things in nature. Spirit beings, ether reason, creators of things, conditions, situations, and changes that general reason might not create, and are also programmed as the controllers of persons, places, and other things in accord with the nature of nature. Opposites, the opposing differences in the nature that keep the circles of smat rotating and persons and things reproducing. Also changeability, the ability of matter to change for better or worse, in accord with the circles of smat, and the ability to change persons and things for better or worse at will. Let it be remembered always and let it be known. Nature and Nature Book 2, pages 32 to 83. Look at the gematria. Nekbet 65. 9 heaven top half. Remember, Nekbet represents top half gases of nature and the bottom half gases of nature from 9 to 3 ether. Here is another picture that shows Nekbet holding 2 Shen symbols which mean eternity. The Shen on the outset looks like a circle with a line at the bottom. However, when examined closely, it is actually a loop of rope. Both ends are visible yet tied together. The sun disk in the middle is a representation of the eternity of life, as the sun is central to life. The Shen is derived from the word Shinu, which means to encircle. The Shen is a representation of infinity and permanence. It also served as a protection device for rulers and deities. Shen Shenu 113. All space, matter, time 113. Nekbet on top of the basket. So this is the basket, this is the top half, this is the basket, bottom half. Nekbet was an early pre-dynastic local goddess in Egyptian mythology who was the patron of the city of Nekeb, her name meaning of Nekeb. Ultimately, she became the patron of Upper Egypt and one of the 2 patron deities for all of ancient Egypt when it was unified. One of Egypt's earliest temples was the shrine of Nekbet at Nekeb, also referred to as El Kab. It was the companion city to Niken, the religious and political capital of Upper Egypt at the end of the pre-dynastic period, and probably also during the early dynastic period. The original settlement on the Niken site dates from Kata I, or the late Badarian cultures. At its height, from about 3400 BC, Niken had at least 5,000 and possibly as many as 10,000 inhabitants. Nekhbet was the tutelary deity of Upper Egypt. Nekhbet and her Lower Egyptian counterpart Wadjet often appear together as the two ladies. One of the titles of each ruler was the Neti name, which began with the hieroglyphs for she of the two ladies. In art, Nekhbet was depicted as a vulture. Alan Gardner identified the species that was used in divine iconography as a griffin vulture. Ariel P. Kozlov, however, argues that the vultures in New Kingdom art, with their blue-tipped beaks and loose skin, better resemble the lappet-faced vulture. In New Kingdom times, the vulture appeared alongside the uraeus on the headdresses with which kings were buried. The uraeus and vulture are traditionally interpreted as Wadjet and Nekhbet, but Edna R. Russman has suggested that in this context they represent Isis and Nephthys, two major funerary goddesses instead. Nekhbet usually was depicted hovering with her wings spread above the royal image, clutching a Shen symbol, representing eternal encircling protection, frequently in her claws. Nekhbet, in Egyptian religion, vulture goddess who was the protector of Upper Egypt and especially its rulers, Nekhbet was frequently portrayed as spreading her wings over the pharaoh while grasping in her claw the cartouche symbol or other emblems. She also appeared as a woman, often with a vulture's head, wearing a white crown, and was sometimes depicted suckling the pharaoh. The center of Nekhbet's cult was El-Kab, but her principal epithet made her the goddess of Hierakonpolis or Nekhen, the ancient town opposite Al-Kab on the west bank of the Nile River. Listen to Reepoo's Sound Right Cosmic Reason. The mystery of these two deities were and are brain news from their origins are scientifically called mother matter and energies. Let this be known. Listen to Reepoo's Sound Right Cosmic Reason. This is explained in Noon Science very well. Listen to reason. Time, by definition, is the continuity of the existence of space and matter. Time is the third member of the existence triad of nature, as expressed in the principles of natural law in the topic entitled The Laws of Nature by Reason. The law of is the nature of is the purpose of. The purposes of the existence of time are to be the third member of the triad of existence, to be the duration measurer of all, to be the continuity of all, to be the ager of all, to be the everlasting preserver and prime keeper of space and matter, and be the eternity of nature. So the law of time reads, infinite in all directions, eternal, preserver and prime keeper for nature and of nature forever, the same way each time that conditions are the same, and so does in unity with eternal space and eternal matter in accord with the nature of nature. Let it be remembered always and let it be known. Listen to reason. Nature is all and all is nature, and that is all there is. Time is as perfect as those it provides continuity of existence for. Space and matter, since time is the continuation of both. Basically, as continuity of space-time is constant, but as continuity of matter-time is constant, variant, and changeable. In ancient times, the scientists of the Ethiopian race philosophically identified all space, matter, and time with the sun, earth, and moon of our solar system and personified them as Ta, Atum, and Tahuti, respectively, meaning in the order given. Time is indeed eternal, that is, it never had beginning and can never end, because space and matter never had beginning and likewise can never end. Let it be remembered always and let it be known. Nature and Nature Book 1, pages 38 to 39. Let's continue reading. Nekhbet was the patron of Upper Egypt, appearing as one of the two ladies in Neti, name of the pharaoh, with her counterpart Wadjet. This is Nekhbet. This is Wadjet. Wadjet on the left as a cobra. Wadjet, green one, known to the Greek world as Uto or Buto. Among other renderings, including Wajet, Uajet, and Ujo, was originally the ancient local goddess of the city of Deb. It became part of the city that the Egyptians named Per Wajet, House of Wajet, in part. Let me explain what Wadjet represent. Wadjet was called the Green One because she was the 6th ether gamma radiation, which is green, that exploded from myself, Reepoo, Ra, Ray, 18 million years ago. So this is the gamma rays. Wajet, gamma is 63, gamma radiation 63, Wajet 36. Zoop 36. Who was the serpent and how did it beguile Eve? The serpent was Leviathan, a giant sex and spirit force who is able to control peoples and nations by sex and by spirit generated from blood and the waters of the earth. Leviathan, who has many spirit members and parts distributed throughout the earth, was cast from the sun approximately 17,250,000 years ago, just before the evolutionary cycle began. The moon cycle is the climax of the evolutionary cycle. The serpent Leviathan is the moon god, Sin, who hypnotized Eve and excited her womanhood by its forces, and in turn Eve excited Adam's manhood, and they had sexual intercourse, which was forbidden by the laws of the sun god because Adam and Eve were priests and nuns. Before Adam and Eve defiled it, sex was sacred, meaning it was used only out of necessity, not out of lust. The serpent Lucifer brought lust into the picture, and it does this through stimulating sex in various ways, and this is why it is called a sex force as well as a spirit force. End quote. BIAE, Book 1, Letter B. The Great Flood of Noah occurred approximately 17,250,000 years ago, and this means that Noah existed long before Adam in the sense of time. In fact, Adam was descendants of Noah. The history of the ancients shows that a subcontinent called Atlantis existed at the time of the Great Flood, and it was submerged underwater by Lucifer's fall to earth, after being cast from the sun. As it came to earth, the great serpent's powers caused interference with the magnetism that controls the earth and moon in their courses, and this interference brought on the great deluge, both from the sky and the waters of the earth, which rolled over parts of the planet like tidal waves. Lucifer is Leviathan. Job the 41st Bible Interpretations and Explanations, Booklet 1, Chapter. Isaiah 27, Chapter 1, Verse. Revelations 12, Chapter 9, Verse. Genesis 3, Chapter 1, Verse. Who is the moon god called Sin by the ancients? Noah's arch, is the crescent of the moon. End quote. BIAE, Book 1, Letter G. Let me, Repu the sun, Re, show you the gematria proof, because I, Repu the sun, was the source of it. Remember this well. Wajet 63. Cobra Sex Forces 63. Listen to reason. Moreover, the opposites, the circle and line of powers or whip powers, are the one reason the pharaohs of Egypt wore headgear, crown, or uraeus decorated with the sun disk, roundness, circle, and the serpent, the Hajj, curved or straight line. These united but opposite powers are also symbolized by the Ethiopian-Egyptian Ankh of ancient times. Another reason is, like all original gods and goddesses of the universe, one of the attributes of the sun god is the serpent, the whip of the uraeus, as explained in Introduction, Book 1 of the Science Noon, written by Afro Uno, as this book is too. Still another reason why the pharaohs of the Sudan, Egypt, and Ethiopia and Africa wore the uraeus, the sun disk, and serpent crown is this. It was a sign of fearful and fearless powers, godhood, priesthood, kinghood, sovereignty, and the ability and capacity to do good or evil, like all the original gods and goddesses of eternal nature. Let it be remembered always, and let it be known. Nature and Nature, Book 2, page 23. The cobra stood for the pharaoh's power to protect Egypt from his enemies. The crook or shepherd's stick meant that the pharaoh would look after his people like a shepherd looked after his sheep. The flail or whip showed that the pharaoh was the heavenly guardian of his people. So here we see the vulture and the cobra. And it says the uraeus, the rearing cobra with an open hood on the forehead of the pharaoh's sarcophagus. The uraeus symbolizes the king, divine authority, sovereignty, royalty, supremacy, protection of pharaoh, and used as a hieroglyph. Now that I, Repu, the sun, Re, have made this clear, now we can proceed to the unveiling and revealing of Queepoo's new name, Que, mother. P is the stool, Q3 hieroglyph. The foundation is the matter or brain noose that started creation from the chaotic beginnings of non-ether. Nature and Nature, Book 3, PDF, page 52. So as we see here, it says the vacuum black ball hole surrounded by chaotic matter and non-ether lightning energy. The gestation process continues. the rotating, growing 9-ether egg ball in the center of the black ball hole surrounded by chaotic matter. Listen to sound, right reason. Unique nature is infinite because it is endless in all directions. Nature is eternal because it never had beginning and can never end. Nature is almighty because there is no power that can exist that is not nature. Nature is all space, infinity, and space is infinite nothingness, which is infinite vacuum. Nature is all matter, totality, and matter is anything and everything that occupies space. Nature is all time, eternity, and time is the continuity, the continuation of the existence of all space and all matter. Nature is the absolute infinite, eternal organism in order one half of time and in disorder the other half. Let it be remembered always and let it be known. Nature and Nature Book 3, PDF, page 66. The double O's represent the quill chick, which covers brain newts, gases, nebulas, galaxies, constellations, orbs, spirit beings, and many offsprings that extend from them all. When you translate Queepoo's name, you have the mother or matter foundation of all existence. Remember this well. The Pooh in her name has been revolved to Reepoo because she is a Leo, and I, Reepoo, Re, Ra, the sun, rules that zodiac sign. So she can now spell her name Queepoo. When translated, it means mother of Re or mother sun power. This does not mean Queepoo is my Reepoo the sun's mother. My Reepoo, Re's, Ra's, the sun's mother is the alpha brain in the center of the Milky Way, falsely called a black hole. The black ball brain in the middle of this drawing is the mother of all the true stars. That's the mother. Nature and Nature Book 3, PDF, page 53. Queepoo name means she came from me, Reepoo, the same as Jupiter, Jupiter, and Saturn, as stated in the nature books. Since reason is the intelligence word and the intelligence power of this book, the writer of this volume must define and identify it at the beginning of these writings. The etymological and literal meaning of the word reason is the son of Re and the son of Ra. Of course, Ra and Re are names of the sun and sun god, and the sons of the universes of nature are indeed the sources of universe reason, because the fact is, their brains located in their centers produce universe and nature, mind, reason, sun gods and sun goddesses. The real scientific and philosophical meaning of the word reason is the intellect, best mind, and intelligence of absolute, infinite, eternal nature and the mental spirit, creator of all persons, places, and things, natural and artificial. Reason is natural ether energy produced by brain concentration as brain newts, the prime mover and matter, melt down. See topic about brain newts in part 1 of this volume. Reason is the mind and mental spirit produced by brain concentration. Nature and Nature Book 1, pages 7 to 8. Jupiter is called Ra, Re, and Amun Ra, and also son of Ra. Even though she is female, that role she plays as the sun god is a masculine position because she rules in my Reepoo's the true stars placed with Saturn, because I, Reepoo, do not rule in the bottom half. So Jupiter has claimed Queepoo in NoopooH's name along with Tarkinu Noopoo and Tarbuunu as well numerically. More on that later. Jupiter comes up to 9. Queepoo comes up to 9. My Reepoo, the sun's number is also 9. The sun, 9. This is showing proof of my Reepoo, Ra, Re, the sun presence in her life, and that everything you all are reading is sound, correct information. Remember this well. The next name upgrade is the Pooh in her name. When it receives 2 extra O's, becomes Upoo. When combined with Re, becomes Upu. This translates as the second son or sun mother, or the second mother of the sun. Also, she can define Re as mother, son. She is second to her mother, who is also a sun in Noone science, of which she was born from her waters. Remember this well. Reepoo can also be spelled as Rapu or Raupu. These have the same definition as Reepoo and Reupu. Let this be remembered always and let this be known.